Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to add Yuzu Emulator games to Steam so that when you click on this and you click play, it boots straight into the game and you don't have to mess with anything. If you do want to just add the emulator itself, I can show you how to do that real quick. Just go to games in the top left right here, add a non-Steam game. I'm going to go to browse right here, and then just navigate to the game directory. So wherever you have the game installed, that's where you're going to want to go. Find yuzu.exe, double click that, and there you go. You see there's a check mark now, and we can add selected programs. And simple as that, if we open this, it'll open the emulator itself, and then we'll have to actually double click the game, which is kind of a pain, you know. So what I want is I want to click play and I want the game to boot straight in. So let's do that. Shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. So first thing you're going to want to do, open your internet browser and you're going to want to go to AutoIt. I will link this in the description. Totally safe. Feel free to do some research on this. There's nothing malicious about this. It's a simple scripting program. It'll let us make a little script that will actually keep the executable open so Steam can track when we're playing the game. So your friends can actually see when you're in game. So just click here, download. I already have it installed, but just to show you there's nothing funky going on here. It'll give you this zip file. You get a little installer. And then just go through here. Here, I'll just uninstall it. As you can see, I already have it. It doesn't really matter what you do. You probably have x64, but they recommend x86. It doesn't seem to make a difference. So, default option, do whatever you want. That's saying if you double click one of the scripts, is it gonna run it or open it to edit, like a notepad document? I want it to run it. Doesn't really matter. Let's do a minimal install. We don't need the examples. We just need the core. Just basic stuff. I'll leave the destination alone. There we go. We can uncheck this. I don't need to see the release notes. And finish. There we go. So it's installed. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Next thing we're going to need to do is navigate to that Yuzu folder where our game is located. So, now that we're in our folder with our game and our emulator, what we're going to want to do is right click and create a new, just a regular text document. Name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it run game, one word. Nice and easy. And then if you have file extensions on, you can right click this and just rename that instead of .txt to .bat. I have a batch file. It's going to tell you if you rename the extension it might become unusable. Yes, we know what we're doing. So now we have this batch file. If you don't have file extensions on, don't worry. All you're going to want to do is right click, edit. Just open this in a notepad document. So it's pretty simple. All we're going to need to do, type start, opening and closing quotation marks, just 2 quotation marks, space, and there's a space right here as well between start and the quotation marks. And then you want another opening quotation mark. And then we're going to want to copy this directory right here. So the directory to the folder where our emulator is located. So for me, it's E games, Super Mario Odyssey. We'll paste that right there. And then we're also going to need to add our emulator at the end. So you can see right here I have Yuzu. I also have the early access, but I'm just going to do regular Yuzu. So we have this location, and then we tell it we want it to open yuzu.exe. Pretty simple, so I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Start yuzu.exe, right? Next thing we're going to need to do, we're going to need to point this batch file to our game location. Now if you have a folder structure like mine, it'll probably be in user, NAND, user, contents, registered, and then in here you can have varying amounts of these NCA files. What you're looking, you could have 10, you could have 2, you could have 3. What you're looking for is this big one. So you can see this one is 4 kilobytes, this one is 1 megabyte, this one 6 gigabytes. So this is our game itself. So this is the location we need to point this to, right? So now we need to do the same thing. We need to copy this folder location. So click this at the top here. It'll highlight all of this. Copy this. You can right click, copy, or you can hold Control C on your keyboard. Then we'll go back into our text document. After this line, we're going to put a space in there, another opening quotation mark, and paste in that location. Let me open this up so it's a little easier to see. So start, we have our opening and closing quotation marks, and then we have the location to Yuzu itself, and then we have the location of the game itself. We have to put this actual file name in there as well though. So what I recommend is right click, rename, highlight everything, and then copy it. And then as you can see we need another little slash right here, so we'll put one of those, paste that in, and then another closing quotation marks. Let me just check my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, we're also going to want to, in between these two locations where we have this space, we're going to hit another space, so we're right in between them, right in the middle. Type -F space -G. What that's going to do, it's going to launch the game in full screen mode. Okay, pretty simple. So now we have start, opening and closing quotation marks, our emulator location pointing straight to the exe, -F-G to launch in full screen, and then our game location, which again is just going to be the biggest NCA file you find. That's it, we're done. So now if you don't have file extensions on, if you weren't able to change it to .bat earlier, what you're going to want to do is File, Save As, and then right here Save As Type, All Files, and then rename this last part BAT, just like that. I've already done that, so I'm just going to save this as it is. Now if we go back to our directory, we find this run game.bat. So this is where AutoIt comes in handy. If you want to kind of deviate and be a lone wolf at this point, you can also look into bat to exe files. You can convert this batch file straight to an exe. I was looking into it, it seemed like more headache than it's worth. So what we're going to do is right click, new. And if you installed AutoIt, you should now see AutoIt v3 script. We'll just create a new one. It doesn't really matter what you name it. We're going to change this later, so whatever. And now I'm going to right click this, edit script. And it'll pull open this little text editor here. Now, this is going to be pretty simple. Just bear with me. So here, what we're going to want to do is type run, no space, open parentheses, quotation marks, and then we're going to point it to the location of this batch file we created. So in my case, it's E games Super Mario Odyssey, and then run game.bat. So just like we did with the yuzu.exe. So far all this thing is going to do now is just open the batch file. But what we can also do, we're going to type sleep 6,000. I think that's in milliseconds. Can you pop up again? It doesn't tell you. I believe that's milliseconds. I could be wrong. But that's going to pause the script for that long. Then while when exists. No? Okay. I kind of forgot about this part. It gets a little more tricky. We're going to need to go to your start menu and type auto it window info. Open that guy. Now you have this little thing right here. What we're going to need to do is open our game. So what we can do is run this batch file we created. Let's just keep this on top. So now if we hover over this, if we click on this, hopefully this should stay on top. If not, you can kind of hover it. But yeah, just click on your Yuzu window, and you see it'll fill in with all this info right here, right? What we're looking for is this title. All this is this right here. So if this was in windowed mode, this is what you would see at the top of the window. But this makes it much easier to just grab that, because as you can see, it's quite a bit. So we'll grab that whole title, copy it, and then we can just close out our game. And now back in here, we're going to just paste that title. Okay, so while when exists, so while the Yuzu window exists, pretty simple, right? Close those parentheses, or I mean quotation marks, and close the parentheses. Okay, so now we have while window exists, and then we're looking for that Yuzu window that we identified. At the end, press enter. It'll take you to a new line. We'll type sleep, open parentheses, 6,000, or I'm so sorry, 1,000. Press enter and then backspace, W end, enter, exit. That's it. That's our whole script. So just a quick rundown. It's going to run that batch file. This sleep command is going to, it's pretty much just going to pause the script for that long. That's because if we don't do that, it's going to immediately jump to this line within fractions of a millisecond. It won't see that window open in time. It'll jump to the end and close the window, or I mean close the script, which is not what we want. So we sleep for that long. That gives the window enough time to open. Once the window's open, it'll go through this while loop. And as long as it sees this window, it'll look, find the window, sleep for 1,000 milliseconds, look, find the window, sleep for 1,000. As soon as you close the game and it doesn't find that window anymore, it breaks out of that while loop with W end, and then it jumps to the bottom of the script and exits. So that's how I manage, this is what we're going to compile to an exe, and this is what we're going to launch through Steam, and that's how we can kind of tell Steam that we're still in the game, you know. If we were to just run that batch file, like I said, it would open and close immediately, so Steam wouldn't keep track of that. With this, we can have Steam keep track of whether or not we're in the game, so it's kind of nice if you want your friends to see, hey, I'm in Animal Crossing or whatever. So we'll save this, and then before we proceed, you'll see at the top Tools, and then Go. And that's going to test this out. You saw that little batch file open for a second, and the emulator opens. There we go. So I can Alt F4, close out Yuzu again. And now that we're all done with this, we can close this out. I think we can close this out too. I think we're done in here. So now all we have is this little script on our desktop. What you're going to want to do is go to your Start menu, type compile, and you'll see compile script exe. Again, you can use whichever one you want. They recommend x86. I'll use x64 because that's what my architecture is. It doesn't really matter. Source is going to be this file right here. Oh, look at that. You can just drag that right in there. I didn't even know that. And then destination, you can see it's going to make this exe. So this is where we can name it. I'm doing Super Mario Odyssey, so let's do Super Mario Odyssey. I hope I spelled that correct. And then custom icon. This is pretty important too, so we can click Browse. I already have an icon file, but if you don't, just look up an image on Google. If it's not in a icon format, which is .ico, just look up PNG to ICO or JPEG to ICO, whatever suits your needs. In my case, I already pulled one from the internet and it's in this folder, game.ico. We'll double click that. Compile for system x64. Obviously, that's what I want to do. Convert. Conversion complete. You may have a antivirus warning. You may have to just go and let this program through. Antiviruses can see these kind of programs as kind of sketchy because people can run malicious code. Obviously, after this, feel free to uninstall this if you want. The only thing we've done is what I've shown you how to script up right here. So we can move this to the recycle bin now. We're done with the script. And now we have this super pretty Super Mario Odyssey.exe. Double click that. And you can see this icon that will actually stay open. It won't go anywhere. But as soon as I close the game, icon goes away. So this solves pretty much all the problems I was having personally, and this is exactly what I was going for. So now back in Steam, again, we'll just add a non-Steam game to my library. Browse. We'll go to the desktop, Super Mario Odyssey. Did it do it? I don't think it did it. Let's do it again. There we go. Now it did it. Add selected programs. And it'll be at the bottom of my list in uncategorized. So we can right click this, add to favorites. There we go. Now it's in our Steam library. So now let's just add some quick art real quick. There's a few art pieces we'll need. I'm sure I'm just censoring the screen because this is my website. So there's a few art pieces, like I said. Let's look up Super Mario Odyssey icon. Obviously, I already have an icon, but it's in icon format, so I can't use it. So here's a good one. We'll right click this, save. Let's just save them to my downloads real quick. We'll create a folder, Mario Odyssey art. And I find it much easier if you kind of name all this accordingly. So this one's going to be the icon. We're going to need a banner. Just go with this one. Right click, save. And we'll save it in the same folder as banner. We're going to need box art. And you'll see a lot with this Nintendo Switch packaging. It looks much better if you get one without that. So I would definitely recommend try to find one without the console branding on it. Okay, we'll just name it box art. And then there's one last piece of art. A little bit more of a pain. Okay, so I found a piece of art for that last piece I was telling you about. So if we go to library, you see in recent games, this is what I was talking about. It's kind of harder to find this little rectangular piece of art, but we can right click, manage, set custom artwork, Super Mario Odyssey art, and then I selected this one, recent games. Look at that, it looks pretty good. This one, like Demon Souls, I couldn't find a good one for the life of me. So that image you're seeing to the right, I actually had to crop it a little bit. You might just have to mess around with it to get it just right. There's a few more pieces of art. I guess that actually does keep the icon from the executable. I don't like it, I guess, and I already have another one, so I might as well use it. So, downloads. Is it not in the right format? Okay, I guess they don't support JPEG. I think JPEG can be renamed straight to PNG. You don't have to do anything extra. So let's just rename these real quick. Now Steam should detect it. Let's go back to downloads, Odyssey art, icon. There we go. I think that looks a little better. Not like you can really see it at all, but whatever. So if we click on the game now, we can right click right here, set custom background. And then let's set it as this banner that I had downloaded. And that looks really bad. So this you might need to like go in and crop. You could probably like expand the image and put some white space on the top and bottom. I'm just gonna clear that and try this one. That also kind of looks pretty bad. But you get it. You can mess with that. Just open it in an image editing tool. If you like it, whatever, just leave it. Now, I don't like this text right here, and I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to go set custom logo, and this is what's going to replace this text. So what you can do if you don't want that there, just upload a transparent image, goes away. I like how that looks personally. And then there's one more piece of art we can set. If you go to one of your categories, the category containing the game, you'll see there's no box art, so we can right click, manage, set custom artwork, and then box art. There we go. Now we have Super Mario Odyssey in our Steam library, and it looks like an official game, almost. Looks pretty darn good. So if we click play, we launch straight into the game. No hassle, no messing around with anything. And I mean, that's it. If something didn't work or if you need help, just let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to help you out. Yeah, hope you have a great day. Bye bye.